What's going on, everyone? TC Tykilla here, and we are talking Pac-12 football once again, and Week 6 is finally upon us. If you watched my last video, I said at the starting that I would put two of those videos in one with the Pac-12 predictions and my top 25. It ran a little long, so I decided not to do that. So thanks for checking back on this video, as we will actually have Pac-12 talk and predictions here. If you haven't watched that video, go watch it. You will see my top 25 teams for Week 6 and why I picked those teams. And for the Pac-12, I have, I think, 5 Pac-12 teams in my top 25. So just go check those out. It's a whole lot of fun, don't you know? Anyway, I'll get onto this game. And the game of the week I have playing for you guys right now is Washington going down to Stanford. We will talk about that game last, as it is the latest game on Saturday. And should be a good game. First, though, let us talk about UCLA at Utah, since it is played on Thursday on Fox Sports 1. Yeah, our first Pac-12 Thursday game, if I remember correctly, as we're finally getting deeper into the Pac-12 games. Last week, it was still Pac-12 games, so it was good, but a few blowouts and a lot of games in the Pacific Northwest. 4 games up here, and 3 of them at least were kind of dampened by a heavy amount of rain, and that it was the Oregon game, the Washington game, and the Washington State game up in Seattle. And it made for a sloppy day for the teams. Oregon had their first turnover. There was a punt in the Washington-Arizona game that went through the hands of the punter and through the end zone for safety. There was a couple missed snaps on PATs. It was just a sloppy weekend for the Pac-12 due to the weather, mostly, I hope at least. So this week, hopefully we get some nice weather. A lot of games more south or more towards the Midwest, so a little bit more dry weather, you would assume. But yeah, UCLA ranked number 12 going into this one in Utah. Utah looking very improved from last year, and I think there's a feature on ESPN earlier today noting how similar Brett Hundley's of UCLA and Travis Wilson of Utah, those two quarterbacks, how their numbers are the same, or looking similar, not the same exactly, but it was interesting to note how their passing efficiency is and their passing yards per game, as well as their rushing yards actually as well. Like I said, Utah looking better. They beat Utah State by a couple, and they played Oregon State pretty well just a couple weeks ago. But they play UCLA, a very good UCLA, who I have in my top 10. And UCLA looking for another berth in the Pac-12 title game. And it looks to be a little bit in their favor. They control their destiny. ASU and USC already have a loss. Actually, I think all the other teams besides UCLA has a loss in conference play so far. So they are in sole leader position of the South Division. And I think they go into Salt Lake City this weekend and win in convincing fashion. It might be close for a first quarter or two, but Brett Hundley, just too dynamic of a quarterback, and that offense too powerful for Utah's improved defense to stop. I'm going with UCLA in this one, 41-17. Now we get to Saturday's games, and we start off with WSU at California. WSU last year got just boned last weekend in Seattle in CenturyLink Field against Stanford in their 55-17 loss, and they had a garbage time touchdown. And I haven't heard anything about Connor Holiday. He got hurt in that game, and then the first play Abadaka played, I think that's his, I don't know how you say it, but the backup quarterback for the Cougars. The first play he came in, he got injured, but he came back in the next drive and finished the game. So I don't know who's starting in that one. I should have taken note of that in my prediction, because that might have actually swayed my prediction. So I'll have to go check on who is starting in that game. But I think WSU, whoever starts, is able to definitely move the ball on California's defense and score some points. But I think California has a high-flying offense that can do the same against WSU, so I'm expecting probably a pretty high-scoring game. Maybe not extremely high like the Oregon-USC matchup of last year, but I'm saying about 40s, maybe in the 50s, probably not. I'm going with the Cougars to pull off the road victory against the Golden Bears, 41-37. California also had the monsoon game in Oregon and got demolished. Both teams lost by an average score of 55-16.5. So the games were the final scores were almost identical, actually. So it was interesting. Next up, we have number 2 Oregon going to Boulder to play the Buffalo. And Colorado looking improved through the first 2 games of their season. Pretty much had it all unravel last week when they played Oregon State. A big loss for them. And Mannion was able to have time and throw everywhere across the field. Brandon Cooks had a big day for them as well. I don't think they're going to be able to stop Oregon at all. Oregon will be able to score at will. DeAnthony Thomas, I think, is out for this one. I'm pretty sure I read that on Twitter this morning that he will be out for this game, and that's probably good. They don't need him against Colorado, and just give him an extra week to gear up for the Washington game, or if he will be out of that one, that would be awesome too, so we can maybe get a win. Maybe. We'll see. I don't want to wish someone an injury, but, I mean, hey, if it benefits us. No, I like DeAnthony Thomas a lot. So I'm going with Oregon in this one, 62-13. Marcus Mariota, Josh Huff. Too much for the young Buffalo defense. One of the bigger games of the day, I have ASU at Notre Dame playing in Arlington, Texas. This is a big one for ASU and another kind of conference check, I guess. I don't know what else to call it, to see where we are in terms of quality of our conference, top to bottom-ish. Oklahoma beat Notre Dame last week, 35-21. So if ASU can get somewhere around there, that would be good, because Oklahoma's near the top of the Big 12, and ASU is probably near the top-ish middle of the Pac-12. So definitely will make us look good. And one of the 3 games against Notre Dame this year, USC plays them in a few weeks, and then Stanford. I think the last game of the season before the Pac-12 championship game. So definitely some good opportunities for us to showcase how good our league is. Like I said in the top 25 video, I'm not really into Notre Dame at all. I don't think they're that great, but they did play Oklahoma sort of close. If I would have had to rank all the teams, I would probably say Notre Dame's around 30, 35-ish. So they're not up in the top 25, but they're sort of close. And it will be still a good competition for ASU and a good measuring stick for them as well. I do think Arizona State will pull this one out 31-21, since it is not a true home game for Notre Dame. And I think Arizona State has, I'm almost positive Arizona State has less miles to travel as well. So, close game nonetheless. I think Arizona State will pull it out. We can see how explosive their offense is. 41 points in the third quarter versus USC last week. I didn't even mention USC fired Lane Kiffin. I'm sure everyone knows that, but there's that. If you guys didn't know, Lane Kiffin will be fired. I don't really know who is going to be hired as the head coach. I haven't been really following. But yeah, just thought I should mention. I probably should mention that at the starting. Oh well. And for the game of the week here, as you see on your screen right now, I have number 15 Washington traveling to Palo Alto to the Farm to face the number 5 Stanford Cardinal. And this game, I've thought for a long time Stanford was gonna pretty easily win this one. Washington, like a lot of people that follow the Pac-12 know, hasn't been very good on the road so far the past couple of years. But Stanford gave me a little hope in the first few weeks of the season when they played a pretty tight game with Army. And then Arizona State kind of came back on them. I think our team is pretty comparable to Arizona State, actually. That game in a few weeks is going to be a great game. Probably a little bit worse for us since we will be on the road once again. But I don't know. Washington's looking pretty decent this year. If we can just put together a good, solid 60 minutes on the road, I think we definitely have a chance to beat Stanford. Stanford Stadium isn't really known for being too terrible of a hostile environment, but I'm not sure that they are really they're not used to having such a good top 10 program. So hopefully they bring it out and bring all the stops. That'll definitely help their team. I think we've shown that we can stop the run as well as kind of play a little more physical on defense. So I think it's going to be really whose offense is going to be able to move the ball more. And Kevin Hogan, Ty Montgomery is actually looking pretty good this year. They looked great against Arizona State in that first half. So hopefully if we can just keep it close up until the fourth quarter, it's anybody's game, and I'm predicting a close game here. 21-20 win by Stanford. So a close win. Hopefully that won't bump Washington down too much in the polls. But someone has to lose, and unfortunately, I think it's going to be Washington this weekend. If they do somehow get the upset, it's going to set up a huge stage next week for the showdown in the border war with Oregon. I would say probably we would be bumped up into the top 10 with a big win against Stanford. Maybe not. But still, probably a top 10 game, college game day coming to town. It would be a great atmosphere. And even if it rained, both teams are really used to it. It's going to be a great game, even though Oregon's ran away with it the past few years by a pretty considerable margin. I think that would be a great game. So exciting. I don't know. I'm excited. I really hope we can pull off this win against Stanford. But, alas, I don't think it's going to happen. And Stanford can hopefully climb the polls a little bit more, passing Ohio State in this one. There you have it, though. My predictions for the 5 games this week. And USC has the week off. Arizona has the week off before facing each other next Thursday, I believe. I think in the Coliseum, if I remember correctly. So let me know what you guys think, and I will post a link to the top 25 video as well as my total Reddit predictions for the top 25 as well as the Pac-12 predictions. Tell me what you guys think as always, and thanks for watching.